The check presentation today is just allow us to continue to stay one step ahead. You know, every little bit counts.
Jackie has stepped up and filled that void, so our donation will feed about 175 young people, as well as help support her Winning for Life program.
The dream, as I say, is always in motion, but you still dream the impossible dream. And the great thing about it is that they're invested in our community like we're investing in the families that live in this community.
Well, everyone, you just saw a great moment with Jackie Joyner-Kersee and our good friend Richard Mark and all the good folks from Ameren, Illinois, getting things off on the right foot. And we thought it would even be a better idea to have a chance to talk with, well, I don't know what to call her. She's a Hall of Famer. She's a queen. She is St. Louis and East St. Louis's own, but I think she's the world's Jackie Joyner-Kersee. And first of all, Jackie, it's been a while since we've seen each other, and it's great to see you. You still look like you could beat me in a race.
Yeah, right. Well, it's great being seen, and miss that we can hug and embrace, but we can do it virtually. But anyway, yeah.
All right, there we go. All right, there we go. We got that out of the way. Hey, let's talk about. I mentioned in the preset we showed the video of Ameren, Illinois, being involved with your center in East St. Louis, your foundation. How long has the center been there? Because you really worked hard at getting that thing off the ground, and a lot of people got behind you. But how many years now has it been there?
So I started my foundation work back in the late 80s, but we built the center in 2000. And this year we were celebrating 20 years of the center being open, and we had somewhat of a virtual ceremony of it. And hopefully next year, if we out of the pandemic, we can do a throwback and really bring people together and just see how far we have come, and as you mentioned, Ameren, Illinois, and the support of Richard Mark and Brian Leonard, who sits on our board, they just really been really a great partner.
I want to talk about the partnership for a second because, I always remind people that Ameren, Illinois is more than just your utility and your electricity and gas provider. I mean, you talk about someone that's immersed in the community, and it doesn't make a difference whether it's in Madison County or St. Clair County or East St. Louis or Alton or Collinsville or further north. They have really become a fabric of what our community and what their customer base is all about.
Oh, definitely. When you think of Ameren, Illinois, even like just giving assistance to, air conditions, they're able to partner with us, come to the center and be able to pass out air conditions, but then also to assist those who might not be able to pay their bills, bring different partners together to assist those families to help them out. And I know with us, not only they are a great partner in supporting us financially, but also being able to bring some of their workers so our young people can learn about what's happening in that field. And maybe one day they might want to take that path, and just really a great all around partnership.
Yeah, that's a great point you make about them having their employees involved as well and mentoring young people, because there are so many different positions within an outfit like Ameren, Illinois, that people can get involved in. And I know when I was growing up, and I can speak the same for you, when you work for the utility company, that was tall cotton there. I mean, if you could get in there, I mean, you were set for life. It was a prestigious position within your community. And I look back and I thought about that initially, about how important a utility company was to different communities. And if your son or your daughter or your brother or sister had a job with Ameren, it was a big deal. And I don't think that's changed, because they've continued to mentor people to let people know, hey, you can do this. We're going to show you the path. All you have to do is walk it the right way. And who knows, you can be in that same position.
It's true, because they bring out their truck and then they're able to give them the lift, go up and work on the poles, the lighting poles, and then it brings it full circle for the students to be able to, one, like, oh wow, this is I'm curious, it's exciting, but then they also learning along the way. And even just tips about it when a light a light pole is down in the community and the wires, and why it's important that you don't walk in the water because that wire might be there and you can get electrocuted. Just different things that sometimes, you don't think about,
Yeah.
but having that insight and that knowledge, but then also how they're able to introduce young people to a field, and then, and our young people today, it's like, well, how much money you make, and they be surprised about the money that they can make. So I think it's just really great.
Let's talk about the center for a minute. 20 years, and you guys have meant so much to so many. I've been to your facility a number of times, whether it was for meetings or recreational activity, but it's changed a little bit now because of COVID, and now we're going to have bad weather setting in here down the road. Tell everyone about what the center is doing now, the youth center is doing now for your community.
So once March, when they shut down, we were able to, we shut down for a little bit. We had partnered with the state. At one point, the National Guard was here, and there's another entity that's here today that provided drive-through testing, for COVID. But then we came back in June. Once we opened back up, then we had our summer camp, which we had about 50 students that we were able to stay within the guidelines. And then once August rolled around, I think around August 17th, then we had our help with remote learning, because a lot of our parents need to go to work, and being able to have their student come here or their child come to the JJK Center. So we assist with the remote learning, because the school district, East St. Louis School District, is still in virtual learning. But then for those parents who need their child to be somewhere, we are providing that. We also was delivering meals, to our families. We're still open now, where we early at the PICA, we had about 150 students in the remote learning. And then that just wasn't from the East St. Louis School District. We had kids from Cahokia, some as well as from St. Louis as well, and Belleville area. But some of them have gone back to school. So we're averaging roughly around 75 today, and still looking to do our out of school time programs, but working with the social distance, and just having our gala, which is one of our biggest fundraiser, but then also the support of Ameren, Illinois, but then also Ameren CARES program from Missouri was also able to, we were a candidate to receive funds, because we were doing a lot of things during COVID, and we're still doing it because it impacted us on a way that we had to really bring in more staff people, because trying to keep that ratio, people think, remote learning is great, but when you got 6-year-olds, and if one can't log on, then you got about 5 or 6 of them logging on, and you're trying to keep them separated, So today we're still doing the remote learning. They're still doing drive-through testing, and all that is free, to the people in the community to come out and get free COVID testing. And we're still delivering meals. We still driving our students home. We have 3 vans, but it's and they're like 16 passenger vans. But because of COVID, our staff is taking more trips than normal, because of the capacity that you can put in the van and keep everyone safe. So we're still doing it while working, and hoping that eventually we'll come out of this, but just still trying to be a resource, to the families and to our partners within the community while we continue to do our work.
One of the things during this time, there are a lot of people who watch these podcasts and listen to them that are at home and would like to do something, especially people who are retired. What's the best way someone, if they have the time and they want to come over and help and just be part of, making sure that things are moving in a better direction? What's the best way people can get involved?
You know what? The best way people can get involved, one is, right now it's kind of hard, because trying to have people come in, because we require our staff and everyone to be tested,
Mm-hmm.
just for your own safety and everything. But we have our website. They can go to jjkfoundation.org. But we always are looking for help with a tutorial. We have a reading specialist. To help with our kids with their reading. We have our STEM program. The math and science. We also have an agriculture that's a part of it. Food and nutrition. And because we partner with our park district here in East St. Louis, and we have a greenhouse there where our students go over, and we have a relationship with U of I Extension. They have a staff person here that help our students that learn about agriculture, learn about food and nutrition, where food come from. They're planning and they're learning. So there is a variety of different things that I think people can help get involved. For me, I think it's very important that our young people need consistency in their life. So through our programming, we have the Jackie Joyner-Kersee Winning in Life curriculum, and that's based off of 14 different principles. So we have a lot that people can assist with. Could be in the field of education, be in the field of leadership, around sports. We use sports to bring our young people in, but also work on the character and leadership development. That's a part of winning in life. So there are many ways that they can get involved.
And they can also write out a check. Donations
You know what?
are always helpful.
You got that right. Yes, they can write out a check.
They can write out a check. And if you can't show up, just make sure the check gets there.
Yeah.
We see where the money's
that.
going. I mean, and I
Yeah.
think when Ameren steps up and makes a commitment of this nature, I think that gives everything you're trying to do even more credibility. But, other people can help out as well.
Yes, thank you so much, Mike. I get carried away and forget about, we can. Yes.
Yeah, we can. We don't turn them down, Hey, I wanted to talk on the sports scene. The Olympics was canceled this year, and you've trained from one Olympic to another. Now, that was a 4-year period. Mm-hmm. How do you prepare in a 1-year period? And you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, obviously some things are going to change, but what's the mental mindset when you have that much time off and you've been led all the way up to the starting line, and then they said, no, we're done. So what's the mental mindset on an athlete? And it doesn't have to be track and field. I just think with athletes, when they train to a certain point on the calendar, and then that's taken away from them, how do you reload and reset, and what's the approach?
So, I think that the great thing about it was that they came to a conclusion and made a decision to delay the Olympics, which I think that took a lot of pressure off, and what makes it more challenging for those athletes that are borderline wanting to retire versus how they hold on to a one more year. But I think once the decision was made, then athletes in general can adapt. We're used to adapting. So now all of a sudden, hopefully the games are going to be at this time. So then you just start working your way back from there, from that time period, but thinking that now I got a little more time, because a lot of us, we train through injuries and we never allow our bodies to heal, both physically as well as mentally. And this was I think an opportunity for a lot of athletes to get in tune to be centered in what it is that they want to do. But I feel bad for, the people who train and this happened, because every 4 years you have to be ready on those given days. And then all of a sudden that we dealing with the pandemic. But most of the athletes that I've talked to, they were a little bummed out, but then they were more concerned about the safety and welfare of everyone. And if we can get beyond this, that mentally, I think that those who adapt well will perform well.
One of the things that I've kind of thought about, you touched on the injury factor where some athletes don't give their bodies a chance to heal up. And now some have scaled it back and they'll start to build again without the injury. Throw in the fact that, this is supposed to be a state-of-the-art facility, which means maybe they lay down a really fast track. Do you see some world records going down in a situation like this for next year?
Oh yes, I know in track and field they are always trying to find the best material for the fastest, the people who can jump the furthest and throw. So I do think that there is the possibility, but most athletes, like when I train, you train to be in the best shape of your life.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you come up against the competition, if it takes a record, then you're ready to perform at that level versus some athletes would train and never train to that level and asking your body to go another gear, then you find yourself breaking down. So I do think that doing this time off, some of the athletes, and they're not really taking time off, because I know the athletes, my husband, who's training and coaching, they at it, they started back up and getting at it. It was just hard not having the competition, but you look at the NBA and how they were able to have the bubble and to not have any outbreaks. Commissioner Silver, he just did an excellent job.
Yeah.
And so now I'm hearing that regardless, the games are going to go on anyway.
And they may go bubble as well if necessary.
Exactly.
And you know what?
Right.
They're probably better suited for it because they're going to have the Olympic Village. And all they have
right.
to do is cordon that thing off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I think it's ideal if they have to do it. But I know this, we will have the Olympics next year, whether somebody shows up or not. I don't think there's any question about that.
They already said, they could put what you call them, cardboard people.
Exactly, the cutouts, yeah. I'm going to get about 1,000 made of myself and have them all around the key areas where the camera's going to be. Hey, final question for you. You talk about training and preparation. It's a safe bet to say that 90% of all the athletes or in the Olympics or participate have the physical tools. What point of the mental element comes into play for you? And you just touched on something where a person can train individually, but when they get on the track, they're competing against other people. Maybe they're competing against the clock, or maybe they're challenging themselves. How did you break that down when you were an athlete and out on the track and getting ready for that big event?
So, when you talk about the mental preparation and the physical preparation, they both go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that you say, oh, I'm going to practice this, then I'm going to practice that. Everything that you do throughout your training, that it has some type of connection to your mental toughness. You deal with personality clashes. How do I keep my focus on performing on the field versus getting caught up into a situation that's going to take away from my performance? So, or dealing with injury, because a lot of times as athletes, we don't think we should get injured, but you end up getting injured, and it's how you handle that, and I know for me, I had to learn the hard way with that, because it was like, you've never been injured before. It's like my whole world was coming, to an end. But I would say that once you have put in the physical work and you're preparing for a big meet, which every day your preparation is preparing for those big meets, So what ended up happening is that once you get to the competition, I know I'm ready. I just can't have any mental lapse, So you want to get there and you want to execute. You don't want to be thinking about everything you've been training to do and all this. I'm not worrying about who my competitors are, because they need to be there to push me to do what I need to do. But I have to make sure I'm focusing on Jackie. What is it that Jackie needs to do? Not what so-and-so is doing or what that person is doing. And that's easy to say, than done, because there were times when I'm like, oh, well, what is so-and-so? And then you find that person you worried about is the person that ended up beating you.
Yeah, that's funny as you say it in that manner. I think you have to just keep it simple, control the things you can control, and you can't worry about anything else. And I would imagine you can't outthink the situation once you step on the track. You know what you have to do, just go do it.
Right, because we always talk about this, about you'll get paralysis by analysis,
Mm-hmm.
You analyze so much, then you become robotic versus just executing, reacting, doing what you prepared to do.
Jackie Joyner, it's always a pleasure to visit with you. I was happy that we had a chance to talk about what you're doing away from the track. And thanks to Ameren, Illinois, being one of your partners and one of your teammates, you're doing a lot for a lot of people in our community. So it's great to see you. Keep up that beautiful smile, and we'll be hugging each other at some point before this is all said and done.
Yes, thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. And
She's Jackie Joyner. I'm Mike Claiborne. We thank you for the podcast. And of course, it's brought to you by Ameren, Illinois.
yes. Thanks, Ameren. Ameren, Illinois.